Oh, I just want to put out some video on actually what the New World Order's been doing for a long time, man. Actually, you hear all these BS arguments on the internet about, yeah, Russia's always been a nation for so long, and China's always, and that's true, it's been a nation for so long, and so is China, and all that kind of garbage. But it's also been a dream of the New World Order to regionalize and keep together as large land masses as possible, and as many people under one geographic area together under one political system as possible, and regionalize all the governments in the world so they can be combined into a global government. When even back in 1800s, I forgot who the heck I was reading. It was quite some time ago. But, before the alternative media was even on the internet, and many years before there was an internet, I have been reading the opposite side of history and what goes on behind the scenes. And I've known about a lot of stuff before, even about Pearl Harbor, about what actually started World War I, and all. I knew a lot of that stuff back even when I was 14 years old, many decades ago, before the internet was around, and they're throwing all these conspiracy videos out there. Yeah, a lot of them are true, but a lot of them are drama, and it's business as usual too. It's the other thing. But I just got to state this: that regionalization is the key, and conflict produces change, man. Hegelian concept, right? So if you have a large enough conflict, people accept change. So what I think's going on actually is the New World Order is orchestrating a major global conflict. Not that it's going to happen right away, but down the road it will, because you're seeing actually the economies throughout the world are not doing that good. But I always maintain you could be your own economy, man. You could be. You could be. You could do stuff on your own. I mean, nobody's going to be like Superman and be able to do every damn thing. But as a group, you got people that have a little bit better special skills than others. If everybody's always working hard and getting away from the fluff, you don't need the freaking oppressors, man. You don't need the ones on the top putting the thumb down on you. They need you. And that's really the whole game plan, how you ought to be thinking about it, versus getting involved in all the giddy rumors of which side is right and all this kind of garbage. Because a lot of the sides, a lot of the power structures on the top, no matter where they are all screwed up. But be that as it may, if you want to compare the Russian power structure compared to the United States, no comparison whatsoever, man. Talk about freaking corrupt. Russia's corrupt as all hell. It's ridiculously corrupt. It is organized crime to the max. That's what the whole state is, right there. Look, right there, Putin the cat. He's walking over here saying hi. But it's like people will not believe that. They'll just put out, "Oh, you're Obama." He's not my Obama, man. He's somebody's elected. I didn't vote for him either time. He's the president. Fine. He's the president. As long as he doesn't overstep his constitutional bounds. He's the president, and he does his job, and that's what he's supposed to do. And he's got the office, he's got the prestige of the office of the presidency of the United States. Fine, but it doesn't mean I worship him like a dictator. No way in hell. But if there was actually an East versus West, competition, I guess you want to kind of call it, like where the West was diabolically locked in trying to knock down the East or something like that, the way they would do it is they'd break up Russia. That wouldn't be hard to do, man. That wouldn't be hard to do at all. But the New World Order don't want it. And the New World Order, actually, that's why you have the European Union. They want everything together. They want everything regionalized. Actually, you'll probably see Canada, the United States, and Mexico all freaking together one day, too. That's what they're trying to push for, too. They want to regionalize everything step by step by step, and then it goes into a global government. So there's not going to be any kind of like dissolution of Russia or China. No way in hell. Because it's against New World Order policy. And Putin is part of that. Actually, I think with Putin, he's part of it, of the New World Order, but he's also being played like, well, this guy's got a huge ego, man. I could see right through that easy as all hell. It's almost like he does he makes up his own logic, and he thinks everybody's going to buy into it because he's Vladimir Putin and he talks a certain... He already makes up in his mind what the logic is. Like when he invaded to Crimea. I mean, they freaking... You know, the way they put that out to the Russian people, God, man, they made it sound like total opposite of what actually happened. I mean, there was Russian troops pouring into that place, man. It wasn't just like a few Russian nationalists took over the place. That's what they freaking make it sound like in the Russian media. Get the hell out of here. But, you know, this is also telling me Putin is an idiot in some ways. He's smart. He's, you know, everybody that... Actually, the way you want to look, he's not stupid. I shouldn't say he's an idiot, but in certain respects, he's stupid. And that's kind of like true of everybody, and even said even very, very intelligent. You know, in some areas, they might be extremely high-end geniuses, but that doesn't mean in every respect they're a genius. And you can see the problem is with Putin. His problem is his ego. And the other thing is, I think he's very much worried about who the next guy is going to be that could possibly replace him. You know, every time he sees a leader toppled in the world, whether it's Gaddafi or whatever, Yanukovych or whatever the hell it is, he worries, man. That could be him. You know? That's what he worries about. And, you know, you look at, you know, what's the repercussions? Where's he go from where he's at? Where's he go from where he's at? I mean, I can already tell that's his main freaking problems. That's his main problem. He'd be a lot smarter freaking trying to build up the Russian domestic economy. I know he talks a lot of shit that he says the Russian domestic economy now has to build up because of all the sanctions that we can't import things, so we got to bring in, we got to actually make this stuff ourselves. We could have been doing that all along, Putin. No. You got to have all your freaking cronies on the top freaking have all the money, so that kills all the competition. It's really to kind of cap... You know, the problem is I could say the same thing that's going on in the United States, but it's nowhere near as extreme as what's been going on in Russia. Even though we're moving more towards that direction, it's not even close, man. It's not even close. A lot of people, armchair people in the West, don't realize how different it is from the West to the East. It's a major difference. You know, a lot of problems, you know, with people in the West are getting softer. Well, they have been. That's been the target of the KGB, to actually make the Westerners softer, where they are not going to go roll up their sleeves and do things or get involved in all this little giddy bullshit that doesn't help them with anything. Actually, you know, I could actually be a little critical of, you know, you can kind of see it because even on YouTube, what's one of the most popular things going? Games, video games. I mean, yeah, I guess that's got a use too, an actual use where it can help with certain functions of like productivity. I'm not saying everybody's got to be freaking, you know, always working 100% all the time. But the thing is, if you actually look, like, there's a lot of superfluous fluff in the United States. If everybody really was rolling up their sleeves, man, all the problems would disappear overnight. They would. They would. You know, it's not like you're going to click on a button on a video and freaking say, hey, all the problems are figured out. We know who the bad guy is. It don't work like that, man. It's like you got to do it. And, you know, hopefully I'm going to be putting out, I try to put out a lot more videos on, you know, more hands-on things and things that people don't delve into too much. And I'm going to get into a hell of a lot more of them, too. Actually, one of the ones I think interests me the most right now is this HHO deal with hydrogen, hydroxy, oxygen coming, you know, when they split water into its basic elements. Well, it looks like today we got the method besides splitting the water into basic elements. Now, if you do that with solar panels, you're talking some like, hey, is that free energy? You know, you're getting the energy during the day and you got it stored up. Well, you can also, you can't store the HHO, but you can store the hydrogen part. And now they got efficient ways to actually just get the hydrogen out of the water only. Yeah, maybe it violates Faraday's law, but like, how do you store the electricity from the sun? Hydrogen might be a cool way, right? A good way. And, you know, I'm going to do these things piecemeal because I'm not a genius in all these different freaking areas, but anything I do that I think is useful, I'm going to put out here, and that's the way it goes, man. So, but the real solution is not getting behind one leader and saying, my leader is stronger than your leader. Oh, my leader is this. You know, hey, man, I'd rather have Mike Tyson in the White House. You know, I put a video out on that. I said, man, Mike Tyson. Actually, Mike Tyson would be great. You know why? Because the guy is actually not, You know, a lot of times people think, you know, people who are fighters are not intelligent. He is intelligent. He actually is an intelligent guy. But, you know, one thing I recognize about Mike Tyson, man, he's like the total opposite of Obama to the max. He would probably beat up a lot of these politicians because some of these politicians, like, not that I want him to beat up the guys, but some of these politicians are such freaking weasels that they're sellouts to the max, and he would sniff that out pretty easy, man. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, well, I think the next time I vote, maybe I will. Maybe I will put his name in. Mike Tyson. Hell with it. I don't know, man, because it's like I'm not going to vote for a Bush and a Clinton. That's for sure. If it's Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton, no way. But that doesn't mean I like Vladimir Putin or Mao Zedong or some bullshit. You know what I mean? Not that he's around anymore, but they still worship in there over in China. But let me just put it to you this way, man. The game is all on us. And, you know, these people that freaking get behind Putin like he's God, they're idiots. I don't get behind Obama like he's God. What the hell? You people make these stupid polarized freaking analogies like, you know, just because I don't like Putin, that means I listen to CNN. You know, last time I never listened to CNN. I even freaking, you know, I used to freaking get the damn 500 channels of cable TV. I never watched it. I hated it. A long time ago, years ago. Like I said, I knew about all the freaking stuff they got on YouTube about, you know, the conspiracy side of history. Years, decades before the freaking internet was even around or even thought of, you know? I mean, I remember when I knew about that when they first came out with the electronic calculator, you know? I mean, it's not brand new to me, man. It's brand new to a lot of other people, and they're telling me, yeah, you to do your research. Shit, man. I'm so well read on this stuff. It's just a lot of stuff I forget, though, that I read. But I'm very much familiar that there's always a financial power behind a war. It's not always the Rothschilds, though. I mean, that's a freaking knee-jerk thing. I mean, I put one simple freaking video out on that, and it's got more hits on any of my videos than anybody. And I'm thinking, why? Because people gravitate to that type of stuff. Not that I was trying to push it. But, you know, I put other things in there about hemp and industrial hemp that the big players ought to be, you know, pushing, but they don't. And, you know, that's another food for thought. You know, if Vladimir Putin was really for the people, instead of, like, just being an oil oligarch and, you know, protecting all the oil oligarchs, how come he's not pushing industrial hemp for the people of Russia? Nah. How come he's not pushing this invention of the Georges Lakhovsky coil? I know he wasn't a Russian when he invented it. He was actually a Russian emigre to Paris. But, you know, it brings life and healing energies, and it's pretty much, now they know, they do know exactly what the plans are, but pretty much anybody who's a pretty decent engineer could build it, and they got loads of Russian engineers that could do that. How come he's not doing that? They don't give a shit. I mean, you know, it's this big freaking act. It's a big freaking act with this guy, man. You're feeding his freaking ego, man. I mean, that's abhorrent to anybody who's a true American. I mean, if we get a leader like that in the presidency and he acts like that, we don't like him. I mean, I don't like Obama, right? But I realize as long as he stays within his... Well, one thing that gets me with Obama is he's going over his parameters with the presidency. But the problem is, you know, not the problem is, we already got the solution. And Congress is like knocking him, you know, keeping him in check. And that's the difference between the United States and Russia. Who keeps Putin in check? Nobody, man. He's been running the country since 2000. And before that, he was the head of the KGB, or the FSB, or KGB, whatever they called it. And he's going to be in power till 2018. And if he wins then, he's going to cry. He's going to go, oh, I'm so happy the Russian people love me. You know, like one region in Russia got 146% of the vote for Putin, eligible vote for Putin. 146% of eligible voters voted for Putin. It's freaking fair election. Anyway, and then if he wins in 2018, he'll be president until 2024. But I think eventually, all this garbage is probably going to lead to World War III. Now, not that it's going to come about right away, but, you know, maybe it is preventable. Actually, probably, I don't know, you know, maybe they're stupid plan. I don't know. These elitists, I don't really know. These guys, actually, what I can just tell from human nature, that all the elitists on the top don't think the same. Some of the yo-yos probably want World War III, and some of them are against it. That's what I'm figuring. So it's not like it's a given. It's not like it's a given. But I also suspect something else highly, that in the Bible and religion, it's not necessarily the Word of God. It was written by man, and I think their elitists are using it as a blueprint. And they will move events a certain way because people will say, oh, it was written in the Bible, that's why it had to be that way. You know what I mean? I suspect that highly. You know, if I was a shrewd game player on the top elitist, I'd be playing it that way too, because I know there's loads of people that believe that stuff to the max. And it's like, you can say, you know, it's hard to say. How do you know exactly what the future is? How do you know what somebody wrote down way back when, knew if he, even if he was, how do you know it was actually coming as the Word of God when he wrote it down? You know, but if a lot of people believe that, wouldn't it be in the interest of the elite to push an event a certain way to make it agree with the Bible so other people will acquiesce to the outcome? Yeah, sure, why not? Right? Anyway, just some food for thought, but you know, the deal is independence all the way. I know there's a lot of Russians with brains too. Maybe they're not on the internet, and they're too busy farming and working rather than watching Russia Today. They're too busy working with their tools, their hammers. They're too busy farming, fixing that tractor, doing the shit they got to do, and getting her done, man. That's what the real Russians are doing, rather than getting online with all this bullshit. And actually, I think a lot of real Russians realize, you know, Vladimir Putin's a pile of bullshit, but what the hell can you do about it, right? You know what I mean? What can you do about it? Nothing. Right? That's probably what they think. That's what I'd be thinking. If I was over there, I'd be like, yeah. And if somebody asked me from the KGB, what do you think about Putin? I'd say, well, if they were asking me, I'd say, yeah, I think he's great. You think I'd tell him what I really thought? No, I wouldn't. You think I'd be that stupid? No. You know what I mean? So, you know, I ain't going to really blame the average Russian, but actually what it really is a lot of the tards on the freaking internet are the ones that buy into all this bullshit, because they freaking listen to all the garbage that's being put out from the Kremlin, and all these, you know, I shot a tiger with a tranquilizer, and, you know, it's all stage events, him riding a horseback in Siberia, you know, him fishing, and him jumping out of an airplane, him doing judo and whatever the hell he's doing, him kissing young boys on the stomach or whatever the hell else he does. The guy's a freak, man, I tell you the truth. Actually, if I was Vladimir Putin, man, I had all his money, man, I'd have a whole bunch of mini-skirted KGB freaking army around me, man. I'd be more like Gaddafi. You remember him with all of the chicks he had? I'd be doing that. I wouldn't be doing what the hell he's doing. He's out there, man. Something wrong with that guy. I mean, Gaddafi, I know why they nailed. I'm just gonna ad lib here. I know why they got Gaddafi. Gaddafi was trying to make the gold standard for North Africa. That was part of the reason. You know, it wasn't the only reason, but there was other reasons. And he wasn't like a good guy all the way. I know that. But in comparison to all this stuff that's over in the Middle East, he looked a lot tamer than the rest of them, to tell you the truth, man. He looked a lot tamer than the rest of them. But you don't screw with the money, man. You don't screw with the money. So, anyway, but like I said, if I was a dictator, man, I'd be more of the style of Gaddafi, man, you know. But unfortunately, those chicks got all screwed up. The ones that were left that were, you know, that was a shame, man. This guy's, it freaking... People are idiots, man. People are idiots. What can I tell you? They're just vicious idiots. And I gotta like put it to you this way. You know, anybody that's stupid to be buying into hook, line, and sinker the Putin lines, they're a freaking enemy, man. You know, that's the way I look at it. They're an enemy. I'm gonna argue with them. I'm not gonna deal with them. You know, it's like, forget about it. You know, I realize people like that. I mean, I already know that there's problems in the United States. I already know there's corruption. There's always been corruption everywhere. You know, the whole thing is, when they devised the United States, is to have the checks and balances and the tools for the people to fix stuff, which is still there. You know, the people aren't fixing stuff, you know. They're getting involved in giddy rumors and stuff, and they're going, oh, God, look what's going on. You know, they ain't fixing their stuff, man. They ain't fixing shit. So, anyway, I'm just getting right down to nuts and bolts. To the hell with this bullshit. And, you know, it's in the interest, like I said, Russia's not going to fall apart. China's not going to fall apart. You know why? because it's in the interest of the New World Order to keep them together. And if the United States happened to fall apart due to something happening sometime in the future, it would come right back together. It would be restructured without a constitution. And then you're going to find out just how screwed up shit can be. So, people are freaking like, they just want this freaking world handed to them, man. They have no clue what the hell it is like in other countries compared to here. It's like night and day, man. It's like night and day. It's the reason some of these other countries have a lot more freedoms in some ways is because the government doesn't have the power or the resources to fuck over the people as much as they want to. But if they focus in on you, forget it, man. They're done. You're done. Just like in China, I mean, the government doesn't have the power to freaking screw over everybody over there. If they had all the resources of the United States, they'd be 100 times worse. You know? So, it's like, relatively speaking, the USA, it's got it like 100 times better than the other places. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it at all. Even all this garbage with, the FDA and all this, Federal Drug Administration, all this kind of shit. I get on here and I talk a lot about alternative health and stuff like that. Actually, when I put it out there, I kind of say, it alleged to be, you're attempting to address. I actually don't even make any serious-ass claims. And actually, sometimes people get pissed off at me because, I tell them colloidal silver is not a cure. But, I put a lot of stuff out here. The FDA is not going to go after me for that kind of shit because it's called freedom of speech. And I'm not even putting stuff out anywhere near as radical as a lot of other people are because I'm doing solid research on stuff because I realize, this looks to be the most legitimate, but I can't prove it because I'm not going to be able to run the test like a doctor and have all the scientific resources available to me. I'm just taking the best information I could possibly glean up and using the absurdity check to make sure it's correct. But, if I was going to be like just saying stuff over in Russia, man, they put a clamp down on me in 2 seconds flat. They're screwed up. They're screwed up. It's run by Vladimir Putin. The law is Vladimir Putin. And people are freaking worshiping this guy like a pile of bunch of idiots. So. I don't deal with that shit. They're enemies. That's the way I look at them. They're enemies.